In our previous couple of videos, we've created a CRUD backend for our to-do app. Today, we're going to quickly integrate a frontend while hosting it in Spring Boot itself. So let's dive in. So in order to create the frontend, I'll create a basic HTML file which will be index.html. Now I am putting this in the resources folder, and inside the resources folder, it's the templates folder that I want to put all my HTMLs into. Your JS and your CSS will come under static folder. Now I'm going to add a basic HTML code which has CSS and JS already integrated inside. Now this is very basic to do application code I've generated using AI. Now here's the endpoint that we have mentioned over here, and there's just a bunch of functions that calls the endpoint on the event of button clicks and so on. Now with this HTML file, I want to host it in the Spring Boot server itself. So in order to do that, I'll have to import a dependency known as Thymeleaf. Now Thymeleaf is a very easy to use to integrate frontend into my Spring Boot app. So in order to import Thymeleaf, I need to import it as a dependency. So I'll mention as dependency in my pom.xml. Now the group ID for Thymeleaf is org.springframework.boot. Okay, so it belongs to the Spring Framework boot group ID, and for the artifact ID, it belongs to Spring Boot starter and Thymeleaf. So this is the artifact ID of the Thymeleaf dependency that I am importing through Maven. So once I've saved that, it'll ask me to build. So I have to build it so that the Thymeleaf packages is imported to my project. Now once that's done, we have to create a separate controller for UI. Now this controller is a REST controller, which is for the APIs alone. Now I'll need to create a UI controller so that my Thymeleaf knows how to handle the files in the resources folder. Now in order to say Thymeleaf that this is a UI controller, I'll just annotate it with controller. So normal controller will mean that this is a UI controller. Now I need a get mapping. So if there's any get mapping to the root URL, okay, I want to return a string. Okay, get home, okay, is a function's name. This function will accept a model, okay, that is inputted from, that's coming in from Thymeleaf. So I'll just import the UI model, and all I have to do is return the name of the HTML file that is in my resources and template directory. So in my template directory, currently I have index.html. So this means that if I set the return to index, Thymeleaf will automatically go into my templates folder, fetch the index.html, and it'll return it. So this is as simple as it gets to interfacing Thymeleaf with your front-end templates. So now since that is done and your index.html has all the code it needs to interface with the backend, now I'll try running this application. So let me just go into my main class and click run. So my Spring Boot has booted up. So now I can go into my browser, I can go ahead and type localhost 8081, that's a port that I defined, and that's the basic minimalistic UI I have over there. Now in order to see what's going on behind the scenes, I can click on inspect and go to network, and make sure you selected the fetch XHR. So this is the fetch request. If I refresh, it works out fine. Now let me try adding a to-do. So let me just say buy an apple and add, and there you go. A request has gone to the backend saying go to the add to do and give it a post request with the payload buy an apple, and the response came out to be a success. Now it asked, get me all the to-dos now. So once it sent a get request to the to-dos endpoint, get to-dos endpoint, now the response is you have one to do, it has an ID 0 and it says buy an apple. Now if I click on edit, say I want to buy an orange instead of apple, so buy an orange and click OK. There's a request that is sent to modify to do. Okay, it's a put method and the ID was mentioned as 0 and the to do was buy an orange and it returns success. Now when I try to get the to do, it returned you have one to do which is ID 0 and it says buy an orange. Now I want to delete this, so I just click on the delete button and it has sent a request to the delete to do endpoint and the request method is delete, and it has also added a query param that is ID equal to 0. So I wanted to delete the 0th to do and the response came out to be success. When I try to get the to dos again, there is no to do because we have deleted it. So this is a basic integration. So when you have Spring Boot running over here and the front-end HTML inside the templates folder, you can use Thymeleaf to interface with a UI controller class. Okay, all you have to do is define a function, define your method and to which endpoint, just return the name of that file. Okay, and Thymeleaf will handle taking the HTML file from the templates folder and returning it to the user. Now there might be one error that can occur in this flow. So if you did not set the CORS, which is a cross origin policy, if you did not set CORS origin to OR, sometimes when you're interfacing with a different backend, what I'm trying to say is that suppose your front end is hosted on a different server than your backend. Say your front end is hosted on 8080 and your backend is hosted on 8081. Okay, in this case it's both same. But in case of such a situation where your front end and backend is hosted on two different servers, what happens is that your browser has a security policy. It does not allow two different addresses to communicate with each other. So in that cases, you will see a CORS error over here. So in order to mitigate that, you need your server to allow cross origin, meaning your server must allow and tell the browser that it's okay if it's a different server where the front end is hosted. I'll allow the request and I'll respond to it. So in that case, if the browser allows such requests, so that's just a security issue you might face while you are deploying. So all you have to do is simple, just annotate your REST controller class with cross origin and star, which is not recommended, but it's fine for development purposes. So there you have it. We have successfully integrated your front end with your Spring Boot backend and things are working out good. So if you found this tutorial helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video.